Been watching Fabio Wardley's interviews today, talking about me. He reminds me of me at the minute after I boxed Lucas Brown. Overconfident, brash, and why not? Should be enjoying what he's doing. He's doing great, but I was once where he is now, and I ended up boxing an old experienced man who was in the last chance saloon, and I got taught a very harsh lesson. So hopefully he keeps his feet on the ground and working hard, because if not, history's got a habit of repeating itself, given the chance.
And there is Dave Allen, okay, as he responds to Fabio Wardley's claims that, you know, he's this, he's better, he's a lot better than guys like Dave Allen. You know, he's on a totally different level. You know, Hooney should be a pretty easy fight, even though he is undefeated. And Dave Allen's reminding him of where he was, or his comparison to himself when he was younger, where Dave Allen lost to Lucas Brown. Later on lost to Jarrell Miller, but that was years before. Okay, so that was that's before the drug popping, or the drug allegations or whatever, before he popped dirty, Lucas Brown. And let me counterpunch. I think it's good to be confident, but I think people sometimes find themselves overconfident to the point where, you know, it's more or less delusional, you know, or you start, because you feel that you're so good, that you innately underestimate your fighter. You underestimate him, and then he takes you for a long ride. And this fight between Fabio Wardley and Justice Hooney, it's not set in stone. You know, so when Jarrell pulled out, you know, and he loses, you know what that means? That means Jarrell Miller's a janky motherfucker. You better be careful, because it happened to Joshua. Joshua was going to fight Jarrell Miller, and Jarrell Miller popped dirty, so therefore he didn't fight. And then he goes in there and loses against Andy Ruiz. Well, Fabio Wardley, you're supposed to fight Jarrell Miller. Well, he pulls out for an injury. And then he fights Hooney and he loses. You know what I mean? So I want people to see the patterns here. You know, it's taboo to fight Jarrell Miller and he pulls out. You might as well cancel the whole card. You know what I mean? But no, I think Dave Allen responded to that well, because, you know, Fabio Wardley is fight weak, you know what I mean? He's on anxious. His energy is high, you know what I mean? So, yeah, he's ready to get it on. And I think it's a level of anxiety you get. So maybe it was a response from that. But then sometimes you could be smelling yourself. You know, sometimes you could be smelling yourself. And then, you know, Dave Allen's like, well, yeah, I remember that. He reminds me of me when I was that age, you know? So, you know, and I paid a lesson. So, you know what I mean? Pretty much. Dave Allen's humbly warning Fabio Wardley, like, look, don't be like me, because I was where you was at and got my ass flattened. You know what I'm saying? Because this could happen in the sport that I love, that I hate so much. So, you know, I think it was more of that, and I think it came from experience instead of, you know, a brutal response or an angry response. You know, I think that's the overall ideal to, you know, learn from what Dave Allen said, because Dave Allen's been there. You know, I think he has a second choice of life. You know what I mean? He's calling out Deontay Wilder. But if you notice, all of Dave Allen's comments or call outs or responses or whatever, they're not filled with any kind of aggression, or they're not filled with any kind of anger. They're just pretty much more of a wise and, you know, or humorous, because it's the White Rhino, you know, response. So, you know what I mean? That you can take to the bank. But you guys tell me what you think of Dave Allen humbly warning Fabio Wardley, don't be like him. You remind me of me. Don't be like me. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace!